Hello and welcome to Eyewitness Report on Channels Television. Today, the amazing and inspirational story of a physically challenged woman, Christiana Kende, makes the cut this week on Eyewitness Report. While she may be challenged, Christiana now teaches even able-bodied women how to be resourceful. Also, we'll bring you an update on the pipeline vandalization in K Farms Estate, Iju, Lagos. Join us for these and more on Eyewitness Report. I'm Chris Elems. Our next story is inspirational and amazing. A former banker who went blind about 10 years ago under a rather disappointing circumstances turns our situation around. Unlike many who would rather take it as an excuse to beg, Christiana AKINRINMADE Kende has channeled hers towards empowering other women, some of whom are even able-bodied. This captured our attention, and so we visited for her story.
My name is Christiana Kende AKINRINMADE. I'm from a town called Odigbo local government from Ondo State. I'm a Nigerian. I'm visually impaired.
While she was driving, she said she noticed that she was bumping into other vehicles.
I've been driving since 1998 when I was in the banking industry. Then I had to call my optician. I was using glasses. He kept on increasing the capacity of my lenses. And I discovered that I still keep on having some minor accidents.
And so she decided to pay the doctor a visit. However, after a series of some unfortunate events, she lost her sight.
I drove down to the general hospital where I was diagnosed that I had glaucoma and that I've lost my left eye. I was on medications, and at a certain period I was told that I would be operated. I agreed, and the date of the appointment for the operation was given to me. As at the date of the appointment, I went to the general hospital. Unfortunately, the doctors were on strike.
This is the end of the finishing of the center table made with a waste product called motor tire.
The journey for her was pretty difficult, but she was determined to change her story, and her determination soon brought her to a Lagos State government organized event.
Flour, the edge is designed with flour. Now we are going to put a flour vase. Oh, wow, thanks, so beautiful.
I thought there was nothing good a blind person can say, as that is the narrative, that a blind person can no longer be useful. I thought a blind person will be liabilities all through his or her life, but I discovered in my own situation the narrative changed. I remember vividly, in which I can never forget in my life. There was a program, a seminar that was going on at VI. I went out to see one of my friends. She was then telling me that a seminar will be coming up here tomorrow, and the commissioner will be attending. Commissioner for Women Affairs and Poverty Elevation will be attending, but they said strictly on invitation. She was now asking me, CK, will you attend? I said, Maybe they said strictly on invitation. That lady said yes, but don't go so that you will not disgrace yourself. I said yes. I said, tell me the address. She told me the address. The following day, 6:30, I've left my home. The program will start tonight. I was there before 8 o'clock. When I got there, the security were asking me, Madam, where is your invitation? I brought out my products. I brought out the good ones out of what I've done. My sander, my adire. The security man said, Madam, your invitation. I said, hold on. By the time I brought out one of the beautiful products, footwear I made, the man just asked me, who made? I said, I made them myself. He now said, I should go in. That was how my product spoke for me.
Christiana today teaches women how to be self-sufficient and resourceful, making bags, footwears, and even tables from used tires.
I was coming from my two, so I lighted at Celebo stop. A widow woman just came by. She never knew I was blind. approached me that I should give her 100 naira. And I remember that the conductor gave me an 100 naira change. I gave it to her. As she was going, I now beckoned on her that she should assist me in crossing the main road. So she was amazed and was embarrassed that she collected money for a blind woman. She now wanted to give me the 100 naira back. I said no. And I said, why are you begging? That you can learn something. That look at this bag and the footwear I'm wearing. She now said she loved it. Can you come to my place? I will train you. That was how I trained the woman. She has gone back to Akwa Ibom. A pastor called me during the December and she even sent me a credit during December, thanking me for what God has used me for her. That was how I decided to train people personally myself. And I remember during the lockdown, March, April, I was weaving. Some girls just came to me that they want to learn. I said, you want to learn? They said, yes. That was how I started training them. So other people started coming. So their numbers almost about 25. That was how I started training them. And I have 4 visually impaired among them. I trained them and they graduated August 13, 2020 this year. Hope you've not forgotten the 4 things you need to know when you want to weave. Can you tell me?
Measuring, cutting, knotting, and weaving.
While her visual impairment may have affected her mobility initially, it has brought her a level of fulfillment that she cannot quantify.
Ayo, can I feel what you are doing? You are still cutting? Yes. What about you too? Let me see what you are doing, the knot you are doing. Can you join? Bring 2 for me. Bring 1, let me join. This is how the joining is. And that's what they are doing. They are creating bags. It's my vision to create values into people's lives. And it's my goal to impart into people's life. To crown it all, when I was sighted, I've never imparted into people's life. I imparted more into people's life when I became visually impaired. I'm happy. It is my passion that people should learn.
NWOKPORO Cassandra is one of our students. She has learned how to knit and produce other items in a space of 4 months.
Okay, I've learned bags, different kinds of bags. I've learned footwears, which one of them is what I'm putting on. And I've learned belts, purses, and other things. So she's a very special woman. But I'll say to others that you should find something doing, especially those even with disabilities and visually impaired. You should not really rely on people so much, because a time will come, it will look as if you are becoming a burden to people around you. So they should try making something useful, doing something useful with their hands, and anything they can find doing, they should do.
So I'm here to learn how to make a bag like the one I'm making. Also to make footwear just like the one I'm wearing. Then not only that, and also to gain knowledge, because I'm a teacher by profession, because there's no knowledge that is wasted. This knowledge that I've gained from divine Christian creativity, I want to take it back to my class, to the children I'm teaching, to impart into them.
The story of Christiana is that of courage triumphing over physical disability. It is determination put into action. She has her eyes on bigger things.
This is the code matter. Look at it. And this one is an initiative for me. Nobody taught me. I just decided we should start using chain to make it unique. I just decided to use the material that let me form something out of it. At times, I will just visualize and create things, and it works.
She might not be sighted, but her vision is clear and her focus fixed on making the most of her condition. Her story may one day become a precursor to a remarkable event that could shape the landscape of the physically challenged.
So that is why we are just trying to change the perspective that when you are visually impaired or when you are blind, you cannot, it depends on your choice. If you decided to become a beggar, that's a choice. And when you decided to be an asset to yourself, that's the choice. But I, Christiana Kende AKINRINMADE, decided to be an asset to myself.
Glaucoma is said to be a group of eye conditions that damage the optic nerves, often caused by high pressure on one's eye. Ophthalmologist Dr. Adiola Onokoya explains further.
Sometimes there are people that if you measure this pressure in the eye, it is still within the normal range. And the reason is very simple. Apart from pressure, we also have blood flowing to this nerve to nourish it. Now, if for some reason there's some restriction in the flow of blood to these nerve cells, as we have in people who have very bad hypertension, not well controlled, or people who even have very low blood pressure, meaning that the head pressure for the blood to get to these nerve cells is very low, so it's not adequate. That also can lead to death of these nerve cells. So at the two extremes, whether your blood pressure is very high or the blood pressure is very low, these are risk factors that can lead to people developing glaucoma. Another thing also is what we eat or some like toxic substances that we have within our system also can cause some level of damage to the cells, these nerve cells in the eye. And all that will lead to is the death of these cells that is responsible for processing and transmission of what the eye sees to the brain. And you agree with me, when that disconnect is there, then whatever you are looking at with your eye is not then transmitted to the brain. So nothing is seen. And the thing about glaucoma is it's a disease that is no symptoms. So we call it as if it's asymptomatic. And that's why it's described as the silent thief of sight, because it creeps in on you without knowing. Because one, it won't cause any pain. It won't cause any redness of the eye. And even for you to say, oh, I can't see well, by the time glaucoma affects what you see ahead of you, then it's very late. What glaucoma affects at the very early stages is the peripheral vision and then maybe some spots in your field of view. The field of view is a very large span, and if it's affecting your field of view to the right corner, left corner, you may not notice. And that is what happens in glaucoma. So eventually, before a large number of people know that they have glaucoma, it's usually at the very late stages. And that is the problem in developing countries. In developing countries, a country like Nigeria, about 90% of patients, they present at the very late stage, at the time at which almost 80% of the damage of the nerve cells are damaged. And the thing about glaucoma is it's irreversible. Any visual loss from glaucoma is irreversible.
How do we prevent people from going blind?
The answer is very simple. Early detection and then sustained control of this pressure, because that's the only thing we can treat. And then for people who have blood pressure, low pressure, they need to attend to it. People who have diabetes, they need to attend to it. And then you don't just put any drugs into your eye. And people who are taking steroids, steroid in any form, either tablets or eye drops, because that also can also increase your risk of developing glaucoma. So you stay away from these drugs if you don't necessarily need them. People who use steroids in cream, bleaching creams are also at a higher risk. People using inhalers with steroid are at a higher risk, any steroid in any form. So these are the things we try to preach and to increase the awareness, to know that if you are 40 and above or 35 and above, or you have a family member who suffers from glaucoma, you must have your eyes examined at least once in 2 years. If you have a family member every year, you must check your eyes, because the only way to pick it at the very early stage is when the ophthalmologist examines your eye. Because if you wait until when you start having difficulty with your vision, then it is rather late, and it means that you have visual impairment, which is irreversible from glaucoma, but that is not our aim.
What are the processes of remedying glaucoma?
We can either use eye drops, or we can use laser, or the person will probably have to come for surgery. And the aim of the surgery is just to reduce or to increase the rate of flow of that fluid out of the eye. It's not everybody that we subject to surgery. And the eye drops also. Sometimes you might be on 2 eye drops or 1 eye drops, but the important thing is the consistency with treatment. Patients have to be compliant. But the problem we have is loads and loads of our patients are not compliant. Sometimes it's because of the cost, so they are not compliant with their treatment. And non-compliance with treatment will lead to blindness. But if we think about it, the cost of buying the drugs is nothing compared to the blindness that follows, because you can't really cost blindness.
It is often said that where words are restrained, the eye talks a great deal. But where the eyes is restrained, it requires great vision and even greater determination to excel.